Namidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So we are discussing the Maitreyi Brahmana, where the husband Yajnavalkya teaching the Maitreyi, his wife. So Are says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. So only for the sake of oneself, everything is becoming source of happiness, but once you recognize that I am the source, then you really don't have to go for anything. Therefore, Atma ve are drashtavyaha, srotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha, Maitreyi. So, my dear, one has to inquire into the nature of who is that self or what is that self. And that has to be inquired by what? Srotavyaha, by listening to the scriptures until it is crystal clear. So, Shruti is scriptures because they heard. So you can hear. So the rishis heard means the rishis came to know the knowledge, and that they passed on to the students. Therefore, it is by word of mouth. That means one has to hear from the teacher only. That's why it's called Srota. So the teacher becomes an essential ingredient for learning scriptures, as emphasized by Srotavyaha. And Mantavyaha, we said, listening until no more doubts are there. Nididhyasitavya. Even after knowing, I had to contemplate. So how long I had to do nididhyasana? Until the question of how long itself disappears. That means until I am firmly abiding in the knowledge all the time, in spite of varieties of experiences and all that. But I am beyond that experiences because I am the very experiencer because of which all experiences are possible. But I am unaffected by any experience. That should be my understanding. And until I abide in that, I had to go, and it will never be 100% for anybody. It will be only the amount of perturbation decreases exponentially as it goes on, asymptotically we call it. And therefore, Maitreyi, Atmano va are darshanena, sravanena, matya, vijnanena, idam sarvam viditam. He makes a statement here which is being emphasized in the earlier sections. By knowing Atma, by how? By sravanena, by the matva, by thinking about it, rationally analyzing it and contemplating on it, and vijnanena, idam sarvam viditam. Not only I will know Atma, idam sarvam also viditam. Everything I know. So there is no selfishness anymore there, because not only I know self, I'm knowing everything also. Everything is me only. I cannot be selfishness anymore. Selfish is only if I consider myself I am different from other self. Right? There is no other self. Then how can it be selfishness anymore as an Hindu local entity? Because myself is everywhere. And that will be the understanding of that. And suppose other people don't think that you are realized. Sir, I know I am realized, but neighbor doesn't think so. What do I do? That means you are not realized. These are signals to tell you. If somebody has to recognize you that you are a realized person, that means there is somebody else other than you. When you are everything else, what is there? You are recognized, period. So that should be a clear understanding. Oh no. So he is getting namaskaram, everybody is putting namaskaram, but I am also realized, but nobody is putting namaskaram to you. They don't, because they know that you are not realized. That's a problem. So, if you are expecting something from others, this is a litmus test for you. How do I know I have realized? If my happiness depends on something other than myself, either thing or person, then it means I have not realized. If I am not depending, but I know I am happiness itself, I don't depend on anybody, anything, irrespective of what the other person or whatever they do or don't do, I'm still happy. He is Atman eva Atmana Srishtaha. He is the realized person. That's Krishna's statement. So that is the litmus test. Whenever you think you depend on something other than yourself for your happiness, you got it. You become a slave to that. Because if it is there, you are happy. If it is not there, you are happy. Then you have to cater to all those things will come into picture, right? So whenever you are full already, you can do all the drama there. Drama is different. You can play the drama with, you can be a millionaire and play a role of a beggar. But I know I am the millionaire. That understanding should be there. I know I am happy irrespective of any circumstances outside. And that's what is dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukheshu vigataspruhaha vitaraga bhayakrodaha stitadhihi. He is called Muni. So with that, the next sloka 246 we go. And he's going to tell you, in case you think it is something different, you are not realized. That's what he's going to tell you there. Brahmatam paradadya anyatra atmano brahma veda kshatram tam paradadya anyatra atmana kshatram veda lokasya paradadhyonyatra atmanah lokan veda devastam paradadhyo anyatra atmanah devan veda bhutani tam paradadhyo anyatra atmanah bhutani veda sarvam tam paradadhyo anyatra atmanah sarvam veda idam brahma idam kshatram ime lokaha ime devaha imani bhutani idam sarvam yadayam atma. All this means is, so we have analyzed this extensively. It says, if something else existing other than me, if you have any notion of any kind, means you are not realized yet. So Brahmana or thrice one who knows him as different from the self, if a person is a Brahmana, if somebody realizes that he thinks that you are different from him, that means you are not realized. So he is giving so many examples because remember husband is teaching the wife. So he is giving so many examples one after the other. And the final understanding is there is nothing other than you. And that's what you are Brahmana, you are Kshatriya, you are this, you are that, you are everything that is in the world. And that is you. Sarvam yadayam atma. That is the Mahavakya statement. All other things are no big. Only step by step. If they need difference of any kind, that if one differentiates, that means that realization is not complete. I should feel that I am myself in everything also, intellectually, cognitively, while transacting whatever that need to be done. Remember, transactional reality is different from satyasya satyam. So this difference has to be understood. So there should not be any confusion in the process. Knowing that there is no sunrise and sunset, I can still enjoy sunrise and sunset. So knowledge cannot dismiss all these transactional realities. So that should be understood here. Sarvam idam sarvam yadayam atma. All this nothing but self alone that I am. That has to be, all these examples are given to recognize that there is nothing really different from me other than nama, rupa and kriya. I'm going only quickly because we already discussed this exhaustively in the last camp. That's what I'm. So, how did one become again? Again, it's talking about the creation a little bit. Sayatha ardheragnehe abhyahitat prutagdhuma vinischaranti evam va are asya mahato bhutasya nisvasitam metat Rugvedo yajurveda Samavedo Atharvangirasa Itihasaha Puranam Vidya Upanishadaha Slokaha Sutrani Anuvyakhyani Vyakhyanani Asyai Vaitani Nisvasitani. So here you're talking about creation, and he gives some examples here. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samveda, all Vedas. Remember, that's the real sciences, including physics, botany, geology. You can add any ology, any geology, all sciences, and all everything you can add into this, because we give him only examples there. Everything is coming from him because they all are, there's like a breathing out and breathing in. So natural. Coming out. For example, is coming from the breathing we do without even knowledge also, right? So it's naturally is coming out. Everything is an expression of that beauty only. So all knowledge in the world. And that here is example is all the 4 Vedas. Plus, and also other list, Itihasa, Puranam, Vidya, Upanishad, Sloka, Sutrani, Anuvyakya, commentaries on commentaries, all, everything it is, nothing but that only. So, Asyai Vaitani Visvanitani. So, everything coming from whom? From me. That should be understood because there is only me. I am is the very source for this. So that has to be clear now. There is no some Brahman sitting and from his Brahman all things are coming. But I am that Brahman also. There is nothing beyond me. That has to be understood. Oh, how can I be that? I am only this. Okay, then that Brahman is different and do puja and all those things. That's a different. But for a Vedantic student, once I understand, I am a conscious existent. I am not this body. Body is in me only. That understanding has to be synced in deeply by Srautavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavya. There is no other shortcuts here. There is no direct paths anywhere. There is no directly sitting and realizing who am I inquiry doesn't, unless I am understood by Vedantic teaching. So all this has to be clear in this. And that's why the Upanishad this clarifies it. Now what happens to the jnani when he dies? If you say when he dies, he doesn't die. Remember he is never born to die. That is jnani. But we think, no, Swamiji was not there, Swamiji is no more there, that's what people say. Now we need to be clear, where is Swamiji now? Or where is Krishna? Where is this one? All these things are concepts we need to understand. Now we have to grow out of our understanding in terms of how we apply this knowledge clearly also. So when I say, you remember in the Vamadeva, he was talking about Vamadeva, Rishi Vamadeva, what did he say? I am the Manu, I am the Surya. Now what should you say? You don't have to say I am Manu also. You can say also. You can say I am everything also. In the past, in the present, in the future also. It's me only. Limitless glories are mine. I can't even tell you how many my glories are, says Krishna in the end, right? He gave up in terms of this is my vibhuti, that's my vibhuti, this is my vibhuti. Everything is me only. That is the understanding of a jnani. So when next time, when you say, where is Swamiji? Who is Swamiji? This has to be clear now. Don't take this outside the class. Understanding that I am the total includes Swamiji also. There cannot be separate now. That is cognitive understanding. Transactionally, Gurudev is Gurudev, Sishya is Sishya. And do prayer, all those things can go on. Understanding wise, I am Krishna, I am Rama, I am Brahman, I am this, I am father, I am mother, I am father's father, I am mother's father, I am the whole generation of saints and sages, and including Rakshasa also I am only, Ravana is also I am, Sita also I am. No difference of any kind. These are all dramas that are going on. But I am beyond all that too, and all that also my vibhuti only. If I have that clear understanding, you think that is a license for me to do whatever I want? No, how can I hurt myself? I'm not going to put my hand into a fire and know that it's going to burn, right? So I won't do anything that hurt myself. But if myself is everything, how can I hurt anything? So understanding has to be very, very clear. I cannot but be out of compassion anywhere. I cannot see any particular person suffering because me only is suffering there. I cannot stand suffering of myself. So a universal, all these things naturally will come out, but until naturally it comes out, I had to make it abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha krishnati. I had to practice by abhyasa, giving up wrong notions of nama rupa and kriya. And that is the evolution itself. And therefore, here is going to talk about what happens when the sage body goes down. Purpose is served. Body and mind, life itself is meant for this only. So there is no more vasanas left in the mind for it to be born again. Therefore, it becomes one. What becomes one? Body becomes that which came from the food, sustained by food, goes back into food. The mind, the subtle body, it becomes one with the Hiranyagarbha, the total mind. All are equipments. And what happens to the Atma? Atma is, I am Atma, all pervading. So where am I? I am everywhere, in everything also I am there, expressing also. And that's what is given as an example of the salt Saindhavam, a salt crystal, when it put into the water, it gets dissolved. And now, wherever I taste any part of the water, it becomes salty. In the same way, when Mahatma, body, BMI, goes back to individual entities, what's left is Atma, which is all pervading everywhere. So wherever you see, he is there. Or wherever you see, I am there. I never die because I am never born. So somebody asked me, does the Hindus believe in reincarnation? So Swamiji said, what is reincarnation? We didn't incarnate first time. How do we reincarnate? Reincarnation is only if you think I am born first time, right? You can be reincarnated. But I never was born. And that should be attitude. This is what is example here given in terms of Videha Mukti, in terms of what happens when the body drops down. Sayatha Saindava Kilya Udake Pranta Udakameva anuviliyeta nahasyod grahana eva syat nahasyod grahana eva syat yato yataswadinita yasaswadita lavanameva evam va araidam mahadbhutam aparam vijnanaghanameva etebhyo bhutebhyaha samuthaya tanyevanu vinasyati na pretya sanya astiti are bhruvimiti ho vacha yajnavalkyaha. So sayatha saindava kilya udake pranta udakameva anuviliyeta. So just as the saindava, which is crystal of salt, Shankara gives saindava is that which is born on Sindhu, which is also the water. That which is born out of water goes back into water. That's what he gives the etymological meaning for that. But it means crystal came from the water and it goes back into the crystal. But the analogy is the BMI came from the totality and goes back into totality. Atma eva becomes, that's what his implication is. So sayatha saindavakilya udake pranta udakameva anuviliyeta. So just as the lump salt dropped into the water dissolves into the water, naha asya udgrahana eva syat. So if anybody takes any example of water anywhere in that, eva are idam, similarly my dear, yataha yat aswadita lavanameva. Just as anywhere you take, you find saltishness of that water because it's all pervading in the whole thing. So where do I find Gurudev? Though also we think in terms of a photo and all that, we should have understanding that he is all pervading. Where do you find Krishna? He is all pervading because that is Atma, only in that form it came and disappeared after whatever the actions are done. And who is that Atma? It's not some Atma, it is me only. That should be understanding. Now, there is no difference anywhere. That has to be clear understanding. I can have a devotion to my teacher, a particular teacher, for a transactional level. But from the understanding level, I should say, I am, there is no Sishya, there is no Guru, I am the totality too. That's what Nirvana Shatakam is, right? Na Guru na Sishya, Sivoham. And that should be clear understanding. So Mahadbhutam, Anantam, Aparam, Vijnanagham eva. This great being is infinite. This is not just a water example, but now you are spreading infinite. There is no limit for you because you are pure Satchidananda Swarupam. That is where your true nature is. And Vijnanaghanam, it is mass of consciousness alone. Etebhyo bhutebhyo samuthayatani Evanu vinapasyati. So, the one who sees that as though it is different, na pratye sangye astiti, that there is no more there, understood that there is no separateness of any BMI, anything at all. You become one with the totality itself. That's what has to be understood. So when you invoke, you should read the Sahasra, the Ashtottara mantras and all that. When you do any Krishna, anything that you say, Ashtottara mantras will tell you what exactly is the nature is also. So even though you are upasana for prayer, you are using an idol or a figure there, but what you are doing is glorifying that which is infinite. Sarvajña, Sarvavapakaha. who's all pervading, but this is only, I'm only for upasana sake. I can do upasana, but with the understanding that I am. Just like I can salute a piece of cloth, knowing that I am not saluting a piece of cloth, I am saluting the whole nation. So that understanding is there. We're still saluting and chanting slokas there. So that should be the correct understanding. Maitreyi. Okay, one more sloka from this we'll take. Yatra hi dvaitamiva bhavati taditara itaram jigrati taditara itaram pasyati taditara itaram srunoti taditara itaram abhivadati taditaram itaram anute taditaram vijanati yatra va asya sarvam atmaiva abhut tena kena kim jigret tena kena kim pasyet tena kena kam srunuyat tatkena kam abhivadet tatkena kam abhivadet tatkena manveta tatkena kam vijaniyat yanedam sarvam vijanati tam kena vijaniyat vijataram are kena vijaniyadati. Wow. Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. Taditara itaram jigrati, taditaram pasyati, all that vijanati, everything. So essentially, because whenever there is a duality, even apparent duality, if it were, as it were, then one smells something, one hears something, one sees something, one that. So here this, as long as the BMI is there, even for a jnani, as long as BMI is there, he will be seeing the world. He will be tasting, all five senses are functioning, so body is different from the world, and all that will transactional going on, just like any ajnani also. So in the difference between ajnani, jnani, there is not much difference in terms of perception of the plurality. Only difference is ajnani will take what he perceives as real, whereas jnani takes what he perceives is mithya. So understanding is Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. So this is not really real, but only apparently real. It's only transactionally Satyam, not Satyasya Satyam. So that's what is being emphasized here. Yatra hi dvaitam iva bhavati. As long as there is a duality, apparent or real, there is taditaram jigrati, pasyati, vijanati. So there is something to see, something to hear, something, all senses are functioning, everything is going on as usual before. Yatra va asya sarvam atmaiva abhut. When once realize that I am the totality itself, tena kena kim jigrati, then what is there to see what? There is only I am. That is understanding wise. BMI level can still go on as long as BMI is there. But once it goes to the totality, then once becomes one with the totality, when the videha drops out, there is nothing else there. I am pure Satchidananda Swarupam. So, Tena Kim Jigred. So, who is there to sound or hear or taste or whatever in thing? Vijataram anekena vijaniya. So, Are means my dear darling, honey. This is a husband teaching wife, right? You remember that? Oh dear. So then with what one should know what? When once there is only totality. So from that point, what can you say about it? Na vak gacchati, na manaha. No words can go there, no speech can go there, no mind can think of. It's not an objective thing to think of. But it is not non-existent, it's not a sunyam also. It is that which pervades everything, supports everything, yet it's not apparently appearing different thing, but it is one without a second. And that is the teaching of Yajnavalkya to his wife. And apparently wife is happy, she has no more questions. And we are also happy, that's over. Now comes the last, Madhu Brahmana. There is a Rishi name. Dajjak. Tanvadu, Dajjak, right? Ravi, you know? Yes. Yeah. So the story is actually that Dajjak is a Rishi and he's a Jnani, and this who is that? Who are the students? Aswinis, right? Two Aswinis. They are actually the physicians, I guess. Two Aswinis are Sishyas. And they want to learn Vedanta. So they could not attend the Memorial Day camp, so they want to learn directly from Jat. So they want to learn. But Indra, you remember Indra is a guy, if you realize he loses food. Remember? We told already. Because gods would like people not to realize. Because when they stop doing all the karmas. Because karma is only meant for going to this step, and if you tell that there is no point in doing karmas, all this. You can do it, but you don't need to do it. Because my mission accomplished. Agartaham, abhoktaham, ahami. I am never a doer itself. What is there to do? I am never a doer also. I do, I don't do it. I know who is there to question, because I am beyond all that too. That understanding is there. Until you understand, you do it. Right? So Swamiji used to, we have, when Gurudev was there, this Sandipani Sadhanalaya was going on, and the teachers, Aham Brahmasmi, they learned all these Upanishads and so, Aham Brahma, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, and going at I am beyond all these things. And so Swamiji heard all that. He told the kitchen people, don't cook any food today. So these brahmacharis, all brahmacharis with all the knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, they went there for the lunch time, no food, nothing. So what happened? Where is the food? He says, Swami said, you are all Brahman, you don't need any food. So they have to realize that Bhavadvaitam natu Kriyadvaitam. Shankaracharya says in the beautifully, Bhavadvaitam natu Kriyadvaitam. Understanding at the intellectual level that I am the totality is clear, understanding should be there. But when you are transacting in the world, transact whatever the role that you are doing. Mother is still mother, father is still father, teacher is still teacher. Respect for the mother, respect for the father, respect for the teacher, all that should be done. Knowing very well, there is no father, there is no teacher, there is no mother, all are me only. Follow? Bhava Advaita means intellectual understanding and abiding in the knowledge is one thing. Transactionally, what need to be transacted in the role play has to be done at the role play only. Don't get confused between the two. Just as I told you, I know fundamentally electrons, protons, neutrons, fundamentally I understand everything. But at the same time, transactionally, I discriminate between garbage and food. Even though everything is electrons, protons, neutrons. If I can do that, I should do the same thing here. So clear understanding at the totality level is bhava advaitam, not to kriya advaitam. But when you act in terms of actions, if at all action is required for the BMI, act properly as per the role that you are taking. Okay? If you want to withdraw the roles, that's what Yajnavalkya was trying to do, withdraw and go to a forest, then he will be forest dweller as his role now, right? Not householder. Householder is the one who holds the house, right? Who's holding on to the house as this is my house. But if you think and you can still live in the house without holding the house, then you are no more householder. Well, anyway. Okay, the Indra doesn't like, all the gods don't like any karmas not to be done, because if people realize it, then they stop doing all these karmas. Remember, there is also in the Krishna Leela, there is also a story of where he has to lift the Govardhanagiri, because the Indra was expecting all sorts of good food coming from all the homas and all that. So they stop doing, then these are problems. So they try to obstruct. So in this case, a story is being told that if this guy teaches the knowledge to anybody else, he is going to cut off his head. That was the story. And these guys, Ashwinis, they want to know. These are twins, I think. So they want to learn this, and they want to go to this Mahatma and learn Vedanta teaching. I says, hey, I'm going to get killed if Indra is there waiting if I teach. So what they do is because they are medical doctors, they can do operation easily. Say, don't worry, we are great medical doctors. We will replace your head by a horse head. Then you teach us using the horse head. And if Indra cuts it, he cuts the horse head. Then we will replace your original head. So you will be alive and we get the teaching. I said, okay, the deal is good. So that's what happens. What happens? They remove the head and put a horse head. And with the horse head, he teaches. Don't ask me all those, how it is. I mean, it's also, I'm just reporting what the Vedanta says. Remember, we started with the horse yajna. Horse can teach. So, the horse through the horse. Hayagriva. You remember Hayagriva? Hayagriva is Lord Vishnu in the Hayagriva poem with the horse head. That's for Vedas only, to protect Vedas only. So, Hayagriva, we pray Hayagriva and then Saraswati also in the Vaishnava also, tradition. So, the Hayagriva, that Rishi with the Hayagriva means horse head, he teaches the Vedanta. And then Indra, as he promised, he tries to cut off he cuts off the head, and these people replaced with his natural head, and everybody is happy, and we are also happy now. So this is the story behind this. Now, that's the teacher and the student we introduced, right? And this is called Madhu Kanda, Madhu Brahmana. And also Madhu Kanda is, both chapters are called, because of this, it's called Madhu Kanda also. Okay, it ends with this. Okay, we'll skip all the stories part. We'll go directly to the juice. So before that, Shankara gives you the little bit of, is okay? All things are my head going whatever they want. This Madhu Brahmana, I will give you a gist of that instead of going through all these Shankara's Bhashyas. The essence of it, he quotes the whole important mantras that defines exactly the nature of the truth. So here, all this is Sarvam Yadayam Atma. Everything is nothing but self alone. And what's the means? What is the pramana for this? These are the statements from the scriptures. So in this and in the Maitreyi Brahmana, it says, Idam Sarvam Yadayam Atma. Oh boy, I don't know what's. Okay. Okay. You can hear, right? You keep flying for some way. Idam sarvam yadayam atma. So these are quotations that you should remember, not to impress somebody else. Remember these quotations to remind yourself the truth. So when you are walking, Idam sarvam yadayam atma, looking at everything, whatever is in the whole world, is nothing but myself only. Idam sarvam, everything else, sarvam means everything that you see is myself alone. Reminding myself so that I can get established in the knowledge. So I used to tell that, Sunil kept reminding me that I am not using that every time now. I used to tell for exercise when you are walking, say, where is your mind? You want to know how you know where your vasanas are and all that? So when you are walking or doing, you will be thinking, mind will be somewhere. So freeze your thoughts, you see where the mind is. You will find mind either in the past or in the future. Experiment yourself. Anytime you go walking, either you will be thinking about the past or about the future. But this is the essence of life, is you can only live in the present. You can't live in the past. 1 second gone. You can't live in the future. Future never comes actually. When future comes, that will be only present only, right? And you can only live in the present. You can only act in the present. You can only enjoy in the present. But unfortunately, we don't live in the present. Because whenever you freeze your mind, the mind will be either dwelling in the past or what's going to happen in the future. And that's the trick. Now, how do you bring that into the present? Now, what is present? I keep telling you, what is the present? Present is very strange. Present is where past is meeting the future, right? That's the present. Now, how big is the present? You keep dividing. Today is present. This hour is present. This minute is present. Because past minute is gone, future minute hasn't come. This second is present. Because previous second is gone, future second has come. And I keep dividing that microseconds, picoseconds, if you know what pico is. It's 10 to the power of -8 or something. Keep dividing. The gap becoming smaller and smaller. What is the present? Present itself disappears. Then what is there? What is there? The one who is dividing is there. Isn't it? My presence is there. And that is sarvam, idam sarvam yadayam atma. I am that consciousness who is able to divide anything, including the time. The present itself is disappeared. Where is the past and the future? And I am the totality that I see. So remind myself when I am doing anything, at least when I am not involved in serious actions. Otherwise, I have to pay attention to the serious. When I am driving, I don't keep thinking I am Atma and then go and hit somebody. So pay attention when you are walking and all that things are said. instead of thinking something in the past. That's why I ask you to freeze your mind, because you are thinking something anyway. Now concentrate, pull the mind from there and think on the teaching itself, to remind yourself you are that present. So here, these are the quotes that Shankaracharya quotes in the introduction. I'm just going only quotations only. Idam sarvam yadayam atma. This is from Maitri Brahmana comes and says. Atmano va are darshanena sravanena matva vijnanena idam sarvam viditam. Is also from Maitri Brahmana. By knowing Atma, my dear, darshanena, sravanena, matva, by examining and listening to the scriptures, by contemplating, by knowing, and idam sarvam viditam, everything is known, because when I know myself, I think I know everything else also. In essence, I may not know the details of superficial, unimportant details, I may not know. So when the manager comes to know, he doesn't want to listen, he doesn't have time to listen to all the stories. Give me the essence, bottom line, what is there to be done? You are interested in only bottom line, right? Is it, we are making money or not making money? Everything else is depends. So, I want to know what is bottom line, and the bottom line is, I am the bottom line. In the analysis of this. So, sarvam viditam, everything is known only because when I know myself, everything is known, because I am the same that pervades everything too. That's also from this. This is satyasya satyam. Remember, this also we learned. Etadesham brahma etad sarvani rupani bharti. And this is the Brahman, and this sustains everything else in the whole universe. Brahma va idamagra asit tad atmanam eva avet aham brahmasmiti. This is what we did in terms of before Vamadeva came, right? Tad etad padaniyam asya sarvasya adayam atma. So everything becomes one once I realize all that leads to this, only this knowledge itself. And that has to be gained. Srotavyaha, mantavya, nididhyasitavya. So the conclusion of this teaching is done in this Madhu Kanda, where the whole universe is perceived and classified as nothing but Madhu. Madhu is here, the whole universe is Madhu. So everything is considered as Madhu, means Madhu is sweet, you can enjoy. Why you can enjoy? Because it's you only. So that is this Kanda, this Brahmanam becomes essentially the summary of all that impact in this portal. So whole universe, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The Jagan Mithya aspect is being emphasized because you treat the world only as a Mithya, as temporarily field for you to play because you wanted to play. Why you want to play? It's fun. Remember, my cat taught meow. It's nothing but Maya only. Because even cat also wants to play. So if the cat knows that it is Maya, so we should know also it is Maya. Then all relations and interrelations and connections and all that, if this depends, all those transactions and you have to do this and the Prime Minister is now diselected and that one is gone, all going, everything going on and confusion and all that. The drama can go on. It becomes a beautiful sport to enjoy, but not emotionally get involved in it. Because it will deprive you of your clear understanding. You can play the game as it should be. So the Maitri Brahmana, according to Shankara, is a clear indication that what is required for moksha is not actions, not a karma anushthanam, but jnanam is required. That is the essence of the teaching according to Shankara. And for that, Atma Veda idam sarvam. Atma alone has to be known. So in this Madhu Kanda, it talks about the first aspect is everything is nothing but whole prapancham is nothing but mithya. That is the statement number 1. So Jagan Mithya is going to be explained in this Madhu Kanda. And there is an interrelationship in this system. So everything depends on something. So you can never be independent on the transactional world. Even if I renounce it, I have to go into the forest, I still depend upon something other than myself there. I have to breathe, I have to eat, I have to do all that which is beyond my... So I have to depend on the nature at least. So never say I'm going to be independent by myself anywhere, because this is the nature of the problem. Everything depends on something other than yourself. I depend upon plants ultimately. Everything depends on the plant. All animals, even other things also depend. So somebody asked me, hey, you are a vegetarian and you are killing plants. Isn't it violence? How can you be vegetarian? Vegetarian means you should not be eating anything else. And you are criticizing me because I am a non-vegetarian. Those who want to know, you can go into my website. There are all these things are analyzed. People ask these questions and I don't have much work, so because I was a government employee. So I was responding. Don't take seriously. I am very good employee also. I used to get all sorts of things. I don't want to lose myself, but after exceeding those things also, I was doing this also. Okay. So, I forgot what I was saying. So the whole universe can be played in this process. So initially, the whole thing is mithya. At the same time, transactionally, one depends on something else. So I'm talking about the vegetarianism, right? So it says, how can you be vegetarian? You are killing. So here are the facts. Life lives on life. Whether you are a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. You have to destroy some life for you to live. You cannot otherwise. Man has a discriminative intellect. Animals don't have it. Cow doesn't think before sitting, should I be vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Should I go for a Chinese restaurant or Greek restaurant or Indian restaurant? Cow doesn't ask all those questions. Only man will ask questions. Man has choice in action. That's why karmani eva adhikaraste. He doesn't have choice other than choosing. He has to choose. He is always at crossroad. Kartum sekyum, akartum sekyum, anaja kartum sekyum. He has to do one or the other. There is no other choice. Man is intelligent enough to know that hurting is bad. Because he doesn't like to be hurt. No animal wants to be hurt. But they don't have discriminative faculty to decide that I should not hurt others for my fulfilling my hunger. Now, my first statement, life lives on life. So something has to be. So what should I do? What choices I have for me to live? Because I have to live. I cannot punish my body. As long as I have not realized, because that's what life is meant for, I had to keep my body, mind and intellect functioning to the best that it can. So what choices I have? Since I have to choose, and I have capacity to choose, and I have intellectual value system to evaluate what is right and what is wrong. What is right and what is wrong? Who is going to tell? That which I don't want others to do to me, I should not do to others. This is simple. What I want others to do to me, I should do to others. This is simple dharma. I don't want others to hurt me, therefore I should not hurt others. I don't want others to steal my property or lie to me. Any of those things I don't want others to do, I should not do to others. That's a simple law. And I want others to be very kind to me. So I should be kind to others. I want others to help me when I am in need. Therefore, I should help others who are in need. If I live the simple values of life that I believe has to be done by others, then I am living the value of those values. That's the value of the value. In that case, the mind and the intellect knows what is right and what is wrong, and the mind that is following, there is no disparity between what I think and what I feel. That's called integrating personality. Purpose of yoga is to integrate the mind and intellect as one, so that manasa, vacha, karmana, they are all in line. That's called arjavam. Arjavam means straightforward. And Krishna says, arjavam is very important. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shantir, arjavam. Arjavam is one of the values, and that's why it's called Arjuna. Arjuna is the one who is straightforward. That's why teaching is only for Arjuna, not for Dharmaraja even. Because he is qualified to learn this one. And when I have this understanding it, then when I had to choose it, I had to do least damage to the nature. Fortunately, when I try to plug the vegetables, the plants don't run away from me. Whereas if I try to catch a chicken or something, it will try to run away. It wants to save itself. So what I mean is, scripture says you do least damage, and therefore you become a vegetarian, because you don't want to, I don't see the hardness of the plants. And in olden days they used to take only things that are dropped without hurting. But for us, whatever the minimum, that's why vegetarianism is for those who are tuned to see higher realities. It's better to be cause least damage so that the mind becomes clear. Now, mind, intellect knows what is right and what is wrong, and if mind doesn't follow, Swami Chinmayananda says beautifully, the sin is the divergence between the mind and intellect. So whenever the mind knows and the intellect doesn't follow it, then that's called as a sin. Because I know what is right, but I am not following it. Oh, I feel like doing, I know what is right, but I feel like doing this. That means I will suffer the consequence of that sin. And for vasanas to go and for chitta suddhi, it's better to integrate the mind and intellect, and for that only the vegetarian is helpful. I don't know why it went vegetarian, but anyway, this is the whole universe interdependent upon everything else. Parasparam upakaram. There is each one related to the other. So ecological balance is there to be maintained. And what is independent and what is dependent is where Vedanta comes into picture. Everything in this world is interdependent, but I am as Atma independent, because I am the one who supports all this. I can be independent of the whole world. How? When I go to deep sleep state, nothing is there, only I am there. And when I realize it, I am the whole thing in spite of anything here. And that therefore I am is independent, everything else depends on me ultimately, and that is essentially the Madhukanda essence is also. So we'll jump to, wait a minute. (14, 18). Why don't we stop here and come back after the tea? Then we'll finish this. This is the last Madhukanda. Then we can do Janagamana. Before you go, just one last thing is, they are going to distribute the envelopes. And this is a convention, and if you think you have gained something out of it, to support the organization, so that this kind of teaching, because we are able to meet here because there is a hall here. How did this hall come into picture? Because some people decided we need a Chinmaya mission. I don't know if you know the history of Chinmaya mission. I know Suresh Rimai is here, and some people who are original people, trustees were involved. That when we were looking for a place, and Gurudev told us, yeah, you are ready for a center, we were running around and trying to find a place. And at that time, this building was not there, the old building, the builder itself was the owner of that building, the old man. And he wanted to sell because his daughter wants to put him in some place, and he wanted to get rid of this. His daughter didn't want to take care of that. So when we were looking this place, we found is a place to expand, and a big parking lot can be built, and also another building can be built. We saw the whole place, and few people came forward putting money as a down payment to buy this place. We're all worried about how is it going to sustain, mortgage, how do we come? Again, few people came forward, committed monthly commitment, this one, so that mortgage is taken care of. That's how, why did they do it? Because they don't have any other work. Everybody is busy just like anybody else. They want it so that they need a center where the teaching can continue. And when we bought it, we thought at that time 275 or something like that at that house. It was so big in those days. And the owner of that was so excited that we are buying it because it's going to be used. He himself gave the second trust for the house. Half of it is done by some Indian bank, and half is because we have mission without any income here, right? Who is going to give us a loan? So he himself gave some trust. We started it. We were wondering how we go. We finished that. We finished the whole. We paid off. Then that building was not sufficient. We have got an Acharya here. Swami came and Brahmachari at that time, and it started growing, and so many people are benefiting. Children who are graduated, they have become also everywhere. And we found this place is not sufficient, and the whole building, this is what, at that time, close to what, 500, 600K, which at that time 250 itself is a big thing. And this way, who is going to do, and what is going to, mortgage comes in. He said, let's do. People will, when they see the value of it, truth will come. So Gurudev used to say, go after Narayana. Don't go after Lakshmi. Go after Narayana. Lakshmi, he carries all the time. Narayana is the Vedantic teaching. And this building is also, they bought other building all next to that. That's also clear. Now we are expanding. The Virginians, we need that place there. And that is big building, and it's almost like now in millions there, right? Who's going to be so big? It will take, don't worry, as it is his sankalpa, goes on. And who is he himself is many here. There is no separate, he is learning, coming somewhere. He has to inspire us in terms of, just as the original people are inspired to start with, same inspiration will come from him only in various names and forms. So, what should I do? You don't have to give it. If you think you gain something, you have to give it back. That is our process of our tradition itself. So they will distribute the envelopes, and depending upon what you think you have gained, you have to give back in some form so that this teaching can go on. If you think this teaching is valuable, not only me, others should also get benefit out of it. Therefore, only way it is to propagate this knowledge, either financially, or I can teach myself, go ahead and teach, or start study groups, any way you can, so that this is the real knowledge and all other call avidya only. So with that understanding, so when they give envelopes, If you don't have money or checkbook, don't worry. Our people are very, very sharp. Our treasurer Prakash Showman is very, very good in this. So just put I owe you in that, and he will make sure that your debt is cleared without any problem. So with that, let's do Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.